Today I'm setting up the Hotbin composter in my garden. If you're setting this up in the wintertime, you'll need the kickstart bottle that comes with the kit. It's essentially a container that you fill up with hot water and you put it inside the composter to get everything started. But we're still in the summer, so I don't need to use that. I'm going to show you how to set it up, but first I'll just explain what you get. It's made out of expanded polypropylene, which apparently is recyclable. It has a lid, which is hinged at the back. There's a fixture plate on the top, which has a thermometer in it, and also a valve that you can open up to let the hot air and steam out. You don't open it up too far. Don't take this apart, incidentally, because it's not designed to do that. Then you've got the main body of the hot bin. Below is the plate for taking the ready compost out. When you're filling it up, you need to actually fill the bin up to the top of that door, if you like. And then below that, there's the aeration plate, which also includes a valve in the bottom right hand corner that's blue. Do that up finger tight. You don't want to over tighten it, but that's where you would extract the leachate from the bottom of the compost. If you don't know what leachate is, it's the liquid that is produced in the composting process. If it's an aerobic composting process, then you can use that leachate as garden fertilizer, and you just water your plants with it. If you have anaerobic composting, where there's no oxygen in the process at all, then you get some nasty chemicals produced, like phenols and alcohols, which are not so good for your plants at all, and you'd be advised not to use that leachate. But in the hot composting bin, the idea is to keep it all aerobic, so you can use the leachate out the bottom of the bin. You can buy a stand to set the composting bin on. I've actually done that, and it's about 4 to 6 inches high, and you put the bin on top of it. That makes it easier when you're extracting some of the leachate out of the bottom of the bin. If you want to save yourself a bit of money, you could just make a platform with some bricks or some paving slabs, and you could put your composting bin on that. The only other thing that you need to attach to the bin is the cam strap that goes round the base here to keep the door on, because otherwise, with the weight of all the compost inside, it would actually force the door off. But I've not put that on yet. It's in the bag of all the accessories that come with that. I'll show you the accessories in a minute, but this is the bin itself, and it all comes ready assembled. You don't need to put it together. The only thing you need to add is that strap round it. So you get 2 cam straps that come in the accessory pack, and now we can start putting them on. Now you want to put it one near the bottom and one near the top of the hatch panel. Don't put it on the upper part of the hot bin, because it'll have no effect. The straps are there to keep the hatch in place to resist the weight of the compost that's inside. So that's the straps now in place. They'll hold the hatch onto the compost bin. The weight of the compost inside won't cause the hatch to fall off at all. I'll now show you the contents of the accessories bag, and then we'll go on to actually starting off some compost in the bin. So this is the contents of the accessory bag. You get the kickstart bottle, which you would use in the wintertime, or when the temperature is down to about 5 degrees centigrade. You'd fill that up with hot water and place it inside the compost to get the process started. There's also the raking stick, which bears a striking similarity to a paint roller handle. That's obviously used for raking around in the compost bin, you get an internal thermometer. Although there's a thermometer on the lid of the composting bin, you have the internal thermometer so that you can actually place it into the compost to check the temperature of the compost more accurately. Also, a user guide that gives you useful information like the proportions of the material that you should feed the compost bin, and finally the cam straps. And then you get a big bag of the bulking agent that comes with the composting bin. We're now ready to start the composting process. What we need to do is establish a base layer inside the composting bin. The base layer is essentially where the hot composting starts in the bin. We need a small layer of twigs in the bottom of the compost bin, and then on top of that we can start putting our material. And what I've got today is torn up or shredded corrugated cardboard. You could use paper, and I'm also using lawn grass cuttings. Grass cuttings contain an awful lot of moisture and also nitrogen, so that will actually start heating up fairly quickly. Right, I'm now over at the compost bin, so let's open it up. Nothing in it at the moment, so we'll remedy that. We're going to build our base layer. First of all, to go in will be a thin layer of twigs. So here we are. I got this from the bottom of my garden where I've got quite a few bushes and trees. So chop those up and they now go in the bottom of the bin. Next, we're going to add the rest of the material that we want to compost. Now, whichever type of composting that you do, whether it's in an ordinary composting bin or in a hot bin, you have to get a mixture of greens and browns. The greens are your leafy type material. In this case, I'm using lawn clippings, and my browns are going to be cardboard. In go the bits of cardboard, and now some of the lawn clippings. Don't put in all the lawn clippings or all your greens in one big pile, nor all your browns in one big pile. You want to keep things mixed up, so add them bit by bit, and then you can mix them up with the stirring probe. I've actually also added in some other garden waste, some prunings that we've had, because I'm concerned that if I have too much of the grass clippings, it might become a bit sludgy, because I know that when I'm composting in my ordinary compost bins, that grass clippings, if you have a big layer of them, they can kind of become quite matted and become, well, a bit horrible and stinky, in fact. What we need to do is also add the bulking agent. And here it is. It's partially composted wood, but when you run out of the material that you're provided with, you can just use twigs and stuff out of your own garden. So the proportions are to 1 part of your food waste or garden waste. Put in half a proportion of shredded paper or cardboard, and 1/5 of the bulking agent. Once you've got quite a bit in, I haven't quite got to the top of the hatch yet, but use the mixing probe just to stir things up so that you don't have layers of just paper or cardboard and layers of grass cuttings or whatever it is that you've added. You want it to all to be well mixed up, but remember, don't disturb the twigs at the bottom. But if you fill up to the top of the hatch, if you get your base layer to that level, then your hot bin should heat up within a week, within 7 days, and you should get mulching compost within about 30 days, a month. To get really rich compost will take about 90 days. The reason I got this composting bin is because my traditional composting bins take an awful long time to make compost. I've had compost in them now for, or rather I've been making compost for 18 months now in those. That I've turned the compost a couple of times, probably ought to do it much more than that, but where I'm based in south of Scotland, it doesn't get very hot. So my traditional bins have not been producing the compost that I want. It's taking a long time. I'm hoping that with this hot bin, I'm going to get some really nice compost really quickly, and I'll keep adding to it every week, and that way I'll have a continuous supply of really, really lovely compost. So before we lose any heat from the grass cuttings that already have gone in, let's shut it up and wait 7 days. I did say at the end of the video that we'd come back in a week, and by that time the temperature should have got up to between 40 and 60 degrees centigrade. In actual fact, in less than 24 hours, looking at the thermometer there, the temperature is now at about 55 degrees centigrade. That's a bit over 130 degrees Fahrenheit. As I thought, the grass clippings contain a lot of nitrogen, a lot of moisture, and that seems to have got the composting off to a really good start. So I think we're definitely on target for getting compost out of here in a minimum of 30 days. Rich compost, 90 days, as the instructions suggest. So far I've been really impressed with the hot bin. It's not even been 24 hours since setting it up. It's already up to a really decent temperature. When I put my hand over the top, I can actually feel hot air coming out of the top valve. I didn't mention that I opened up the valve after setting the composting bin going. You need to just push it down where it says open. It opens up about a couple of millimeters. Cold air goes in through the bottom of the bin. There's an inlet on the front of the bin. It then goes up through the aeration plate, through the column of composting material, and by the time it gets to the top of the composting material, it is hot and quite moist, and it then comes out of the valve at the top. If the ambient temperature is low, you'll actually see steam coming out of the top of the bin. It's, as I said, about 55 degrees centigrade or Celsius, over 130 degrees Fahrenheit. The ambient temperature at the moment, 20 degrees at most, but inside here is cooking away very nicely. I may not be back in a week's time, but I will be adding more material to the composting bin, so I might actually make another video showing that and giving another update on how this bin is getting on. In the meantime, if you want to see more videos like this, then please subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell, and also if you like the video, please hit like. Thanks very much for watching. It's really appreciated, and until next time, cheerio, bye.